Hi, I'm Madisyn.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
Welcome to the What We Carry Together podcast.
Because no one should have to carry it alone.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. Today's a really special episode because we're about to have a conversation that we still haven't even had yet. We're going to talk about the fact that Kaitlyn offered the most selfless thing anyone has ever offered me. And I'm still in shock about it. And we really haven't sat down and had a deep conversation about it because of said shock. So we're going to talk about it today. And I think where we start that is my search for a surrogate. And so I will say, endocrinologists, Mayo, people say they're not even going to consider our surrogate choice until we have embryos. But I cannot wait until I have embryos because, if someone unrelated to me or something would have said, I'm interested, I would say, okay, if someone else has reached out to you and wants to do it and they have embryos before Mills and I do, don't hold anybody else up from being their surrogate. But I still wanted to put feelers out there because I've never met a surrogate before until this process. And so I was like, this is such a rare thing. We're going to have to search forever. So I posted on social media and you shared it. And then people started coming out and saying, I might know someone who's interested, or so-and-so had a surrogate. I can put you in touch with them. Which, by the way, there are some really, really amazing people in this world, because the responses I got from that message, I was really scared to put it out there because I didn't know how people felt about surrogacy or what they would think of me if I posted. And I really got some amazing responses. But what I was not expecting was you reposted the post, put me in contact with people. And then that Sunday you called me and asked me to come over.
Yeah.
And you asked me you said for Mills.
Yeah.
For Mills and I to both come over. And we were coming over and we were like, she's pregnant again. We were like, she's going to tell us she's pregnant again. And we're happy for her, we would, because we would be, but we were like,
great.
No, I don't know. I was but anyways. And one of the reasons I had not, first of all, I don't really feel comfortable asking anyone that hasn't put out interest. Second of all, one of the big things I have learned in what research I have done on surrogacy is that it's preferred to have somebody that's done having kids, because you just you don't know what can happen with the pregnancy, and it could make it so they can't have any more kids. And I know you and Brian have talked about expanding your family. And so I just said, Kaitlyn, Kaitlyn can't do this because she's going to either have a third boy or have a girl. So I was like, it just didn't cross my mind. And then we came over.
Yeah. So, I had, of course, ever since I knew that you were going to even just potentially need a surrogate, I always, had in my mind about doing it myself. And so, that went back way far. But then, there were a lot of things to think about, and it's not anything that I wanted by any means to rush in and say, oh, yes, I'm going to do it, because that is not something that I wanted to,
It's a big decision.
If I, I, of course, had to talk to Brian about it. I prayed about it, and it's not something, I wanted to be 1,000% certain. I didn't want to just rush out and say it, and then, oh my goodness, if I took it back.
But you can.
I know, but I want on my end to know,
I appreciate that.
That I'm 1,000% in before I put that offer out, because that would be, I understand, I can, but I wouldn't.
I understand.
So, I prayed about it a lot. I talked to Brian, and I was very, honestly, I was kind of the mindset at one point. I was like, I'm not going to do it. Somebody is going to do this. Else, because it was the third child, and honestly, it's
not like your pregnancies were a walk in the park either.
They were super duper challenging, but yeah, it was. And then I've got two little ones, and it was just a lot to kind of like wrap my head around at the time. And then, I mean, one thing was, one of our sermons at church, it was talking about potential and purpose. And at the time I was like, how do you know the difference? It wasn't just, it was an amazing message, but I couldn't tell for myself what the difference was. But I did pray about it a lot, and it was like, your purpose, Kaitlyn, is being a mom right now. And I could just clearly hear that that's what God was telling me. And then fast forward to another church sermon where our preacher, he was saying, you know, that he's talking about how that it's important for us to use our gifts from God to help other people. And I was thinking, I was like, what could I do to help other people? And then it was the same thing where it was like, you popped into my mind, and I was like, I did have 2 healthy pregnancies. And that is something that, I mean, like, I feel like it's probably one of the biggest blessings from God that I could offer to you, would be to provide that gift to you, and then also taking out the uncertainty, and it's in God's hands, but it's out of your control. And then to be able to put one thing that I know that you were struggling with a lot, and just be able to, I mean, of course we have to get approved, and hopefully that will all be okay, but, you know, if that does pass, so we can just kind of know, like, that is something that is, you don't have to worry about anymore. And then, of course, you know, I talked to Brian about it a lot, and we did just, you know, we talked about that if we do want a third, and goodness gracious, the 20-month age gap between Graham and Jack has been a little bit of it's a blessing, but it's a little bit of a challenge. So we do know that if we do have a third, that we want there to be absolutely more of an age gap between Graham and the third child. And you know, we are also happy with where we're at with the 2 boys too. So, you know, we talked about it a lot, and we said we're very happy and thankful for our 2 healthy boys. If God finds it, you know, if it's in his will that we are supposed to have a third child, then he will let it be. If something happens where that I cannot get pregnant again after this, and we were meant to have 2 healthy boys, then we are blessed with 2 healthy boys, and that's okay with both of us. And Brian, he looked at me one night, and he's like, I know, he said, you will regret this if you don't do this. And wow. And it was the truth. I mean, it is
wow,
because, I mean,
that makes me want to hug Brian.
Yeah, I mean, and so for anyone listening that doesn't know, I mean, we're 18 months apart. We are best friends. I'm super non-confrontational, but the only time that I really have been is when I feel like when I've come to your defense about things. And I mean, I feel like a mama bear for you, you know, and like, I just, you mean, like, you're my best friend, and I love you so much. And so it was, I just happy to do it.
I have so many follow-up questions, but I'm going to circle back to the fact that I'm still in shock by this. And if anyone knows me at all, like, they're like, why isn't she not sobbing? Because that's who I am. And I have cried over this. But I really am in just such shock. I've never experienced anything like this. And I think if I had accepted it, maybe I would be less hormonal, because just the gratitude of knowing that you're willing to do something like that for me. And I think gratitude erases a lot of, it takes more space in your heart so you don't have room to be negative. And that's what I'm really wrestling with. And this is like just such I don't know if there's anything I could ever be more grateful for. And when Mills and I came over here and you told us, we were both shocked. And Brian was there, and we did not know what to say. And I think we still don't know what to say. Because there are so many different things going on in your life. And, you know, I think every pregnancy is a risk. It's a health risk. And it could keep you from having another child. And also it's a sacrifice. I mean, you're 5'1", and not a lot of space to go for the belly. And it's just like, I mean, it impacts your everyday life. It's going to impact you know, how you interact with the boys. And obviously we're all going to rally around you and help you so much if this is meant to be. I just really can't thank you enough. And I can't thank Brian enough. And one of my first questions is Brian's response to this, his initial response, and like how he walked through it.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely was, you know, because like my health is his number one concern.
Right.
And I think he was just, you know, definitely a little bit nervous about that and everything. And, you know, just making sure that it would be okay with the boys, like just me being healthy, you know, enough for them. So he definitely was hesitant about it. But then I think once he, like we talked and he knew I was, you know, really serious and seriously looking into it. And then at my most recent OB appointment, Madisyn and I, we have the same OB who is
we love him.
He's the best.
He's the best.
And he's very, very cautious, and he is not going to give approval for something unless he really feels confident in that it's the right, you know, thing for him to say. So I asked him about it and, you know, told him, you know, potentially that we might want to have a third down the road and everything. And he was like double thumbs up. He said, I think that's great, and gave, you know, all the approval. And so once I told Brian that, I mean, he knows how cautious the doctor is too. So once I told Brian that, he was a lot more comfortable with it. And then I think he knows, you know, he's watched your journey too. And so he knows how badly you and Mills want this. And, I mean, he's totally on board now.
That means the absolute world, because you're so right. It can't be an impulsive decision because it's such an important decision. And one thing that was very important to me is that I didn't want you to feel like it was your burden to fix. I wanted it to be something, because I know that God has a plan and there is a surrogate. There will be a baby, or there will be a donor egg, or there will be an adoption. And this is just a step closer to figuring out how this child, this miracle baby, will come to be. But despite all of that, this is something that I didn't want you to take on as your burden, because I know as my protective older sister, it's probably tempting to be like, well, I've already seen her gone through so much. I can fix this for her. I can fix this one thing. And so the gifts that, like, I think God giving you the gift to be so intentional and organized, and I'm way more impulsive than you, and to really think about it and weigh out the risks, and come to an informed decision. It gives me more peace that you're doing this because it feels like a calling instead of a burden that you have to fix. Yes. And I want to reiterate that you can at any point, or Brian, take a step back and say, this isn't it. And we can keep doing this podcast, because I mean, she might not even be a fit. We don't know. But what I do know is you're going to support me through this regardless. So we will literally, no matter what, be carrying this together. So I think it's just a really interesting opportunity to like get to talk about the surrogacy process. And one thing that I've kind of cringed thinking about is that how the hormones are impacting me right now. And I know that switch is going to flip if everything goes according to plan, because then you will be taking shots and things that make you hormonal, not even like getting to the pregnancy point. But, and I've also heard that the post IVF hormones are worse. And so I just like will stay up at night and just feel so awful that I feel awful, and that means that you're going to feel awful. And that's something that I struggle with.
I mean, I think, it is probably going to be a challenge, but I mean, I think it's just important to know with, I mean, not many things that are worth it are easy. Yeah. And knowing that it is temporary, and then just keeping in mind that, like the why that, you know, that we're doing this. And knowing that at the end it's going to be worth it. And I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. And I mean, I don't know if I even want to say it, but because I don't know, but I just feel in the very core of my body that I can confidently say that this is all, it's going to be worth it, and that there is going to be a happy ending to this. Like, I just feel it to my core, and I can't explain like the peace that I feel about that. And I mean, I know that I do feel like, of course, the anxiety
Right.
that's going to happen along the way, without a doubt, there, will be that. But I don't know. I just am so excited for you, and I think it's going to be so fun and special to be able to go to the appointments together.
That's the other thing, is because looking at agencies, you're not guaranteed to match with someone that is local. Mm-hmm. And if you are guaranteed to match with somebody that's local, it takes longer. And
which, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And again, worth it and a blessing.
And but that's just another stressor that you have to go through when you're looking for a surrogate, because, I'm hopefully going to want more than one kid. And I don't know what path we will take for child 2. I'm so bad at this, but I'm really trying to stay in the present.
Yes.
But one of the things, because I'm not carrying the baby, I was like, something else that they don't really talk about with IVF and all of this is, like, I've had to get so many ultrasounds. And with my FMD, I have to get ultrasounds of my heart and my kidneys and, like, just my entire body. And it's really, because you hear the heartbeat, your heartbeat, thankfully. But it's just, anytime you see it in videos or, and when people post about being pregnant or on TV, they get to hear 2 heartbeats, and I've cried at every single ultrasound, because it's like, I'll never have an ultrasound where I'm like, that's my baby. And so it's really important to me to be able to try to go to ultrasounds if I can, and if this plan works out, which is still an unknown. And obviously you can see I'm a spiraler, and I'm really spiraling with all of this. And the crazy thing is, like, I'm not spiraling about my FMD. I really don't even know that I've technically dealt with my FMD, because I'm so focused on this baby, and all my spiraling has to do with, and speaking of spiraling, I don't know if I made up the statistic, but I know it's less than, I don't know if it's because you're a surrogate or it's just an IVF transfer in general, but like 60% chance of it taking. So that's an added stress to you, because you had 2 successful pregnancies, and that's a burden for you too, because there's and I have talked to a surrogate where she was like, the first one didn't take, I had a medical miscarriage, but the third one worked. And so, it's not as cut and dry as, like, we have this embryo, pop it in sister grows baby, and all is well. So sometimes I feel like God put me on this specific journey because maybe he thought I couldn't handle loss, which I still might handle loss through my surrogate. But it's like asking you to take on that potential, which is a higher potential, and just the emotional toll on you.
I mean, I would just, it's hard to speak on it, because hopefully it will.
And am I crazy for asking these questions?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, I think it's important to talk about, because of course, a huge priority is that we do want a healthy baby and a healthy pregnancy and everything. But also, it's a big priority for mine that it doesn't impact our relationship in any way.
It's only going to make us closer. I would never resent you for it. That's what I'm more of, like, I'm worried about your mental health for going through that, because it's still your body.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I would feel, honestly. Like, the word that pops into my mind thinking about that would be guilt, because
that's what worries me.
But I mean, like, I think that is just like a natural Like, how would I not feel that? You know what I mean? Like, and not in any type of way to make this like selfish and about me, but like
that is not
would
making it
be-
selfish and about you at all. That's being selfless, that you would feel guilt. Like, I'm worried about your mental health of like, yeah,
I will, we'll get through it. We'll cross
that
whatever
bridge,
bridge
if and
when
we get there.
Right.
But just making sure like you're willing to take on that risk.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk about, so something else that I learned is that we go through therapy. So part of the approval process is that I go through therapy, Kaitlyn goes through therapy, Kaitlyn and Brian will go through therapy, Mills and I will go through therapy, Mills, Kaitlyn, Brian and I will go through therapy.
Brian will love therapy.
Honestly, it'll be like, well, what a great introduction to it as well. But we have to make a lot of decisions too, where we talk about like, as if the decisions you think about when you're pregnant, like what happens if this is going on with the baby,
right.
And a lot of serious questions. I don't know if they ask you that when you're pregnant yourself or if it just comes down to it and then you have to make the call, but they get ahead of that when you have another person involved.
Yeah.
And those are heavy questions. And, I do feel like we will align a lot because we align on a lot in as sisters, but, it's still important that we're honest about. I don't want any of our decisions to come to the point because it's like, well, I feel like I should. Like,
Right.
I want it to be like, this is my value. This is where I stand on this. And this is,
I think on both sides, like we both have to be very honest.
Yeah.
And I, like the best way that you could repay me, honestly, is I hope it brings you peace. That is like, honestly, probably the crux of the whole thing.
wow. That's the sweetest thing you've ever said, because I haven't had peace in like 6 years.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, oh, this can't fix it. This can't bring you happiness. This, which is like something weird to grapple with, because I'm not saying, oh, I need this to be happy or I need that to be happy. Like, I need a promotion. I need a raise. I need this. I need that car.
The need for a baby is different.
This is different.
Yes.
It's like, I need a child. And it hasn't even crossed my mind of, what if Mills and I just don't have a child? And it hasn't crossed his either. It hasn't crossed his either. But just that, like, we don't even know what route's going to work or what's going to happen. It's just, it makes us feel rushed and it makes it hard to have peace. It is a sense of peace, because right now, had you not offered,
That would be a huge unknown.
I would still be stressed out over that. I would be like interviewing people right now without even having an embryo. And then like, it puts also a lot more strain on like, and pressure on having embryos, and with like transfers and things like that. I will be telling you, and we will be carrying it together.
Yep.
And so,
I think that no matter what happens with this journey, like there probably will be some setbacks along the way.
Yeah, and a lot of variables.
Yeah, a lot of unknown. And so, I think that even if no one listens to this podcast, or maybe like someone tunes in for the first like 5 minutes of the first one and then no one listens to it again, I honestly think that this has been such a good like therapy for us, and I really want to keep going, because I look forward to sitting down with you and talking about this. And then I think it's good for us to be able to sit down, and whatever obstacles come our way through this, that we are going to talk it out, and I'm gonna hear you, and be
because I feel like something you do, and this was my biggest holdback. Well, not my biggest. Like, I was worried about, safety, third child, but like something else I worry about is you carry so much. And I think maybe it's an older child thing, but like, you do not ask for help. And there are so many situations where like I watch people offer you help and you're like, I got it. Where I would have been like, why? Like, I want to let them help me. And it's just like, you don't have to do it all. And like, we're going to probably be suffocating you with like wanting to help you if this goes according to plan. But like, just as I'm being honest with you right now about my hormones and how things are impacting me, it's very important to me that you're honest with me as well. And that you don't feel like, I don't want to make her feel guilty for like if I'm going through this or feeling this, because we are carrying this together. And I would maybe be feeling if it weren't for you. So like, let me go through it with you to whatever extent that I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I just think that's an important part of the journey. And
I don't want you to, yeah, I mean, I hear that. And I also want, like, when I do that, I don't want you to feel guilty.
okay.
I don't want you to feel guilty.
I think it's going to be kind of how you were like, if it doesn't transfer or like there's a issue, like you'll feel guilty. Like I will feel guilty, but like it's going to be a grateful kind of guilty. And I'm going to probably just be like, all right, what can I bring over to your house? What can I feed you? Like, what can I do with the boys? Or like, what can Mills do with the boys? Like, do to make you more comfortable. And you're going to have to accept that. And that will be my way of, I guess, feeling okay with. I mean, you don't have to accept what you don't want, but like
I know.
accept
I get what you mean.
I feel like we have no idea what's ahead of us. Like it's going to be a long road, because I just talked to somebody that has done surrogacy twice, and they don't know about my FMD or any of that, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you have such a long road ahead of you. Like it is not easy. It takes a long time." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Because like this is my light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to be its own tunnel. But this tunnel feels less lonely.
No, but I mean, honestly, I see this taking like a year at least.
I know, and my birthday's in September, and I get so depressed on my birthdays now.
Well, just hopefully we have more answers by that point of something to be able to look forward to. Because I want you to be able to look forward to these like things that are coming up, like your orientation coming up. That's something to look forward to, because we're going to find out more information then, and that's exciting to know more information.
You know, you're right. It's more all information. It's about knowledge is power. And I think, but like every year I have a birthday, I'm like, wow, by the time I was this age, I thought I'd be pregnant with a second or third. And like, I just look back at pictures of us when we were little, because I was looking at pictures of us for the podcast. And like, I saw a picture of us with one of our grandpas, and he looks so young. And
So young.
I know, but I don't know how much longer this will take. And like, we still have 3 of our grandparents alive, which is a huge blessing. And like, I love watching them interact with Jack and Graham. And it's just like, I want control over so much that I can't.
Yeah.
And like, that's the other thing that I think is hard, because I want control over so much that I can't. And I mean, even the point where I've jumped ahead to be like, let's get the surrogacy thing figured out. But this has given me a peace of mind that I know I would be spiraling about if I didn't have. But yeah, I don't know. We're doing our best, and we're figuring it out as we go. I'm really thankful for you, and I'm so glad I've never had to live a day without you. And one day I will shed the tears that you so deserve to see for this offer. I don't
need to see your
but
tears to know your appreciation.
But I know, but like, I'm just in such shock still, and like, I'm scared to get my hopes up. This is like all too good to be true. I'm so grateful for you, and like, I need to pray to God every night, and just, if nothing else, thank him for you.
Oh, Maddie.
And I'm really sorry that I haven't been so proactive about doing that. And I'm just really thankful for you. And the same goes for Brian. Like, Brian has one brother, and he was thrown into the world of girls and sisterhood. And now he's going to get to be doing therapy with both of us.
Oh, gosh.
Which I am so excited for. But I think that now is a good time to talk about how we decided we're going to end podcasts
Yes.
instead of saying what we carry. We're going to start out with that, but I think we can say now what we are grateful for. And I'm so grateful for you. Yeah. I mean, I can't put into enough words how grateful I am for you and for your selflessness, and not like the constant phone calls and text messages and like, are you okay? And you answer every single one of my FaceTimes despite being in the middle of doing whatever with your toddlers. And I really can't thank you enough. I'm really grateful for you. And that could be my what I'm grateful for every podcast, and like I'll switch it, but for the underlying theme, like I'm very grateful for you. So
well, I'm very grateful for you, and I'm grateful for honestly the opportunity to do this podcast, because I am so I don't know if it is the control freak in me, the mom guilt, a combination of all the things, but like I feel like when I'm home, I have to be like, I don't know, like fully in.
You want to be fully present.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And but like I do know that like I want to be there for you, and I do know that you need me to be able to be there for you and listen to you and everything, because I'm your sister and your best friend, and I am just very thankful for this podcast, that it's giving us an opportunity to sit down and without distractions
Talk.
and be able to talk, because I think that is very, very important.
And if nothing else to that, and also like I'm really excited to one day like show this, or have Jack, Graham, and my children listen to it to hear about this journey of how they came to be and how much they mean to all of us.
Shout out to Mimi, thanks to her too for having the baby monitor and being on call for while they're napping.
Yes,
because they wake up so that we can
the
keep doing this.
MVP.
Yeah.
But I think, so our next episode is going to cover orientation. Kaitlyn and I will
virtually,
we'll find out a way to download and talk about that orientation, and we'll have more information on the process moving forward, and we'll kind of go through all of that with you guys. And well, if you're still hanging around, we're really thankful that you listened, and I'm really nervous for orientation, so we'll see how it goes.
Great. Well, talk to you soon.